Hello everyone, DM Johnny here from Dungeons & Dice, and today we're going to go over 10 very rare items that shouldn't break your game because you guys seem to like this series. Let's get started.
Get it on!
Alright, we're obviously in a different spot right now. Sorry if you hear my chickens screaming. I bribed them with worms so they would be back there. It's just too hot. There's too many people on the lake. I can't get a time to shoot. So anyways, let's get started. And I should also mention that I assume you will not hand these items out until like your players have at least 5th level spells. All right, for number 1, this one comes from the Hidden Shrine of Tomo-chan, or Toma-chan, I'm not exactly sure. It's on the D&D list, so I assume it's real. It's called the Bracelet of Rock Magic. Now, I like this one because it allows you basically 3 charges of Flesh to Stone, DC 15, and it takes an action to use it, but it's cursed. So, let's say you use Touch to Stone, which I think is a touch spell, and the guy saves, so he's not restrained. What happens is, this item's cursed, and you lose attunement to it. I should say while you're attuned to it, you're actually immune to Petrified, which is kind of powerful. But you lose attunement to it, and then the spell is reversed and cast onto you. See, I like this because Petrification is super strong. But if the option is like, I maybe turn that guy to stone, or myself, I'm a gambler. I love it. So you might succeed on turning that guy to stone, or it might come back to you. Now, one thing it does says is that if you fail, you're instantly turned to stone. Flesh to Stone is like a restrain into a stone, and then it lasts, I think, an hour, maybe 24 hours. But I would make it like that. Like, if you fail the first time, you get restrained. Second time, you are petrified for 24 hours or for however long. By the time that you're handing this out, I'm assuming your party will have greater restoration anyways, but it's still really cool. It only has 3 charges of this, and then it switches to stone shape, which can be very useful. And then if they use all 13 charges of that, it turns into a golden bracelet and they can sell it or whatever. Number 2, coming to us from Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. You know, I love these guys' item. It's called the Blood Axe. I believe this is the axe. It is the axe from Grog from Critical Role. It's about the only character I actually know. I don't watch that, but I know people really like it. Anyways, this axe is a +2 axe, which at very rare, that makes sense, if not +3. Which means you're going to get +2 to your hit and +2 to damage. In addition, if it's not undead, you do an extra 1d6 necrotic. 1d6 at this point is not going to be a ton, so that's not really a big deal. But what I really like is if you get a kill, you get 10 temp HP. Now, temp HP can't stack, but you can lose it and then re-get it, which, again, if you've watched any of my other videos, I really do like temp HP. It's a nice little, it gives the players that little shield so they'll do more stuff. They're more likely to take more risks. That's what I like about it. And then if you have proficiency with the Great Axe, you also get to add that modifier to the damage, which 1d6 necrotic plus your proficiency modifier is almost like 1 more extra dice. Well, it's +2 as well. So yeah, it's almost 1 extra die of damage. Pretty strong. Plus, if you're handing out to a barbarian or fighter, this is really all they got anyways. Number 3 is the Wheel of Stars from Acquisitions Incorporated. This is technically part of a larger thing, but this one, they're actually all pretty cool. But this one is, yeah, I like this one. So you do need to be attuned to this, and while you're attuned to it, you get +1 to your wisdom saves, which, let's be honest, wisdoms are a lot of freaking spells. In addition, you get cantrip Light, Guidance, and Message. Message pretty powerful. Guide, well, powerful, quote unquote. Guidance obviously pretty potent, but again, a 1d4 by the time you're handing this out, not too bad. Now, I do have to admit, this one does have fly once per day, but again, by the time you hand this out, I'm assuming your players can fly anyways. So anybody you can see within 60 feet, you can use your reaction to then basically roll a d10, and if, let's say they're attacking and they miss and you roll a d10, they can hit. Alternatively, if they're trying to attack one of your homies, you say, nope, we're taking the 9 off of that attack, suddenly they can't hit. Again, once per day, so you get a once per day fly, once per day reaction to like sort of buff or unbuff, and then you get a few cantrips. But what I really like is since it's not part of the big machine, you as a DM can then say, well, I'm going to activate a Wild Magic Surge because that's the last part of it. While the component is not installed in the Orrery of Wonder, which I'm not exactly sure what that is, it's probably legendary, its magic might sporadically function or have unpredictable side effects determined by the DM. That sounds like Wild Magic Surge to me. So that's what I would do, except I'd probably make it happen more than like a 1 on a d20. I'd probably make it happen a lot more often because I like chaos. Number 4 is going to be our first homebrew item. Go check out our Patreon, $1 a month, get you access to over 60 magical items, non-combat pets, we're adding magic spells. Hey, I'm doing a video here, thanks. You freaking bird. No respect, I'm telling you, man. Anyways, this one is the Oni Mask. All right, so this one, basically it sets your strength to 19. I actually, for very rare, I'd put it at 21. If your strength's higher, it doesn't do anything, but it does extend your range, melee range, by 5 feet. which will make it 10 by default. If it's a long range weapon, then it'll make it 15. This is going to be annoying if your group has Sentinel. You as a DM should know if they have Sentinel, or if you hand this out, they might switch and do Sentinel. There's not a lot of items that increase melee range, like a bugbear gets increased range, but outside of like long range weapons like halberds or long spears, lances, there's not a lot that does that. So this is an item to help your melee fighters maybe get into combat a little bit quicker. Not super broken, but well, I say that, but once you give someone extra 5 feet of range in melee, I don't know, we'll find out. If something does happen, please leave a comment and let me know. Number 5 is the Illusionist Bracers, and this comes to us from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. And basically what this does is it allows you, if you cast a cantrip as a main action, you can then use your bonus action to cast it again effectively. So basically, let's say you use Firebolt, you can use it again. So it's called the Bracers of Illusion. And the way that that's worded makes it seem like it's meant to use for like illusion magic or something that's not powerful. Again, by the time you're handing this out, what a Firebolt will be 3d10, so potentially they'd be doing 6d10 on their turn, but if they use a main spell, they can't use the cantrip bonus action. So I think it's really balanced if you use it that way specifically. Like if they use a main action spell, they cannot use the bonus action cantrip. That's the way it's worded. Make sure you do that. Alternatively, you know, I like to do this as well. Give it 3 charges. You bonus action cantrip, 3 charges straight up. Number 6 is an item I thought might be overpowered, but the more I thought about it, I was like, no, it's the animated shield. Basically, as a bonus action, you can have the shield float in front of you so both your hands are free, and it only lasts a minute, so it's not super strong. But I was like, well, man, then they can two-hand and shield, but then I thought about it, and I was like, well, most one-handed board users are going to either have +1 to AC, intercept, or like dueling, so using a two-handed weapon's not gonna do much to them. And if you hand it out to your players, they'll figure out a way to use it. Maybe like torch, sword, or 2 swords, torch, dagger, whatever. They'll figure it out, hand it out. Don't worry about it breaking your game as long as you only hand out 1. Number 7 is the Blast Scepter, and this comes to us from the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Yeah, it allows you to cast Thunder Wave as a 4th level spell, and it doesn't have a limit, it seems. It seems like you can do this consistently, which I think 4th level is 4d10 and a pushback potentially. I could see this being annoying on a melee player. It does require attunement though, and that's the big thing. But it can also be used as a catalyst to cast spells. I should mention that also. But I think that's mainly what's going to happen is like a wizard, sorcerer, warlock, or someone's going to put it on themselves. So if something gets too close, they can cast it for free and push enemies back. Alternatively, one of your melee fighters will take it, but then they have to use their action to use Thunder Wave, and the DC is 16 to be fair, so it's not too bad. As I said, you can do it repeatedly. Maybe make this a 3 charger per day depending on your group, but Thunder Wave's not terrible because you have to put yourself in danger to use it, and there's no guarantee you're pushing people back. Number 8 is another homebrew item, and this is the Bracelet, man, I cannot get that word, Bracelet of Resurgence. So this is actually kind of weak early, but powerful later. So basically when you drop to 0 HP, these bracelets shatter, and you restore up to Bloodied, which is half your HP. At level 20, that's a lot. At level 5, that's like, what, 25 HP? Either way, it's actually pretty good because A, it prevents death, and B, it's a free heal. And I'm always wary about free heals. That's why I think it's a very rare as opposed to maybe like a rare. It's probably legendary at level 20, but be careful about when you hand it out. Only hand out 1, and then, you know, make sure you smack that player down so they don't have it against the big bad guy. Anyways, number 9 is going to come to us from Tomb of Annihilation? Tomb of Horrors, my bad. It is the Spear of Backbiting, which is a +2 spear. But what I like about this, first off, you can throw it 30 feet longer than normal. Second off, when you whip it out there, it does an extra damage die, and then you can warp it back to you. Now it is cursed, and I would remove part of this. One of the curses is basically any other weapon you use puts you at disadvantage. I think that's a little silly. I think for like just throwing, like Roman, right? Like you got the freaking javelin, pila, whatever it's called, you throw it, you can have it come back, but maybe you want to switch to your one-handed sword. I don't know exactly, but I think the curse for that part is a little silly. The curse on a nat 1, however, basically when you throw it in nat 1, it actually comes back and hits you. That's pretty cool. I like that. There's a, you know, risk reward. It warps back to you, so there's no reason to think that like it was warp, boom, and it still has to beat your AC, but it's still really cool. And you know, I like spears. I don't think spears get enough love. Throwing spear, you know, it's but it's +2, extra damage die, comes back to you. Yeah, you might hurt yourself with it, but And number 10 is going to be our last homebrew item. It is called the Scepter of Radiant Light. Really simply, you get +1 to spell attacks and DCs on your saves. I don't like doing 2 and 3. I think spell DC is already really powerful and there's a lot of ways to buff it. You could do 2 if you wanted, just be careful. The big thing is once per day you get a big 20-foot AoE that does 4d10 radiant damage, DC 17, wisdom save or charisma save, it'll be up on the board. It's once per day, and yeah, it's not super powerful, but it is radiant and it's 20-foot radius and it's once per day, so that's why I think it qualifies as very rare. But again, make sure either it's +1 or +2 depending on how you want to do it, but be wary about giving out too much extra DC to your wizards or mages or whatever, because they're gonna hurt. There you go. There are 10 very rare items that should not break your game. If any of these break your game, obviously leave a comment so we know that, oh, that was stupid, that was wrong. I don't have as much experience with the very rares as I do like the uncommon, common, and rare items, because I don't typically go beyond level 10 in my campaigns, because that's when things start getting silly. Anyways, I'm gonna check the legendary items. I highly, highly doubt there's gonna be 10 items I can get out of that won't break your game. I'll give it a shot, we'll see what happens. Thank you to my patrons. Well, we're growing. More patrons, great, cool, love it. More subscribers, more everything. You know, I appreciate all that. And you know, if you're thinking about it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 1,000, which is part way to getting monetized. So hey, anyways, if you are my $5 patron, you are on the board right now. Thank you, all of you. And if you liked what you saw and got what you needed, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Later, Gators.